The population of Rinconada is, without a doubt, the urban population living at the highest altitude in the world. I don't think there exists another place anywhere in the world where there is such a large number of people working down a mine and living on a glacier around that mine at 18,000 feet above sea level. Unfortunately, as you can see for yourselves, this population lives in the middle of its own excrement and rubbish. It's incredible, but everything is dumped anywhere at all, out in the open. We're aware of the problems that this causes and have tried to clean up the town. We've also tried to advise the population about the questions of hygiene and waste disposal. But these people, they don't have the financial means to apply even the most basic sanitary measures. It's sad to say, but they don't even have the necessary money to build a dump.
Helped by 2 nurses and a midwife, Hernan Ventura is the only doctor in Rinconada. He treats over 1,000 patients a month.
Most of the children under 5 in Rinconada suffer from lung infections and diarrhea. You don't have to look very far to work out the reasons for these illnesses. The altitude, the climate, and the polluted environment these children live in are the causes. But thanks to God, the town is covered with snow nearly all year round, and the cold slows down the spread of epidemics. As the only doctor here, I try to deal with all the requests for help, to save lives and treat illnesses. But I'm only human, and sometimes I feel completely swamped by the number of patients who want to see me. If it were down to me, of course, I'd go and work elsewhere. But the employment situation is difficult. If I left, there would straight away be 30 or 40 doctors willing to take my place. So I can't afford to be lazy or proud and think that I'd be better off somewhere else.
The alpacas have always roamed immense distances on the high plateau, searching for the rare tufts of grass which are not covered with snow. Alpaca meat's an indispensable source of protein for those who live in the mountains, and it is generally lean and very healthy. However, in recent years, the alpacas bred in this region have changed their feeding habits. The environment of Rinconada has perverted these animals to such an extent that they no longer leave the town, as in the past, to search for food on the surrounding plateau. Instead, they stay in the town and feed off the rubbish, competing with the dogs and caracaras. It is clear that the quality of this meat is nothing compared to what it was in the past. Peru was hit by a terrible economic crisis at the end of the 80s. In the space of 5 years, inflation reached 7 million %. Today, even those who've been to school and got qualifications are unemployed, and those involved in agriculture or animal husbandry find it impossible to support their families. Many men without any other source of income are attracted by the small-scale mines.
I came to Rinconada in 1998. I used to come here before, when I was younger, during the holidays when I was still at school. I've been here permanently since 1998. Why did I come here? Well, you only have to look at what's happening in our country to understand. There are so many problems. We study, get qualifications, and become good professionals. And then, at the end of the day, there's no work. There's only unemployment. So the only way to find work is to come here, to the mine. Nobody asks anything of you here. You don't have to be a professional to work here. I learnt the job by copying the miners, who have been here for a long time. Here you learn from the others, sharing their knowledge and following their footsteps. Sometimes we have a good day and sometimes not. Sometimes we make a profit and other times have nothing at all. Knowing how to manage your gold is vital. If you spend all you earn and waste it, you're finished, because you won't even have enough to buy food. Yes, of course the work here is very hard, very tiring. It's a job for strong men, the hard ones, we say here. We all want to make a bit of money, that's why we come to Rinconada. But nobody wants to spend the rest of their life down a mine. God willing, we'll find enough gold and be able to leave and do something else. Open a little shop or find another job, a job less difficult, less tiring. It's very cold here and we're prone to all sorts of diseases, especially lung infections. As for hygiene, look around you. In Rinconada, we live in the middle of mountains of rubbish. There's filth everywhere, in and around the town, and the authorities do nothing to remedy the situation.
When the miners can work for themselves in accordance with the cachorreo and finally earn a bit of money, they have to produce a minimum of 5 to 10 grams of gold in order to survive the following month. We are going to accompany Rodolfo Nina to understand how a single gram of gold is produced. The day starts at 6 in the morning with the walk up to the mine, a good hour's walk in the rocks and snow. On arrival at the mine, the contractor gives the miners their essential dose of coca leaves, which they chew all the time they're down the mine, in order to lessen the discomfort due to the lack of oxygen, tiredness, and hunger. An offering is made before going down the mine shaft, a few coca leaves slid under a stone, so that the mine is generous. Food or a bottle of alcohol could also be given as offerings. An ancient belief claims that leaving a human brain to rot inside the mine causes a chemical reaction which makes gold come to the surface of the rocks. This belief still has its followers in Rinconada, and the last human sacrifice recorded by the police commissioner dates back to March this year. The mine passage has been cleared using dynamite. There is no remote-controlled electronic ignition here. The fuse is lit and the miners run as fast and as far as possible. Accidents are inevitable.
When there's an accident and we see our friends die in the mine, it's a terribly sad moment. But it's part of a miner's life too. It's a dangerous life, and when we leave our families, we never know whether or not we'll make it back home and see them again. We think about that often.